My name is Bernie Malone. I've been with Whispering Pines for 29 years now. I started out as a resident care worker, but my employer at that point in time was not going to hire me. I was, like I said, a single mom of 2 children. I did not have a GED or anything, but I seen the ad in the paper for help, so I went and applied. And I actually applied at someplace else, but they wouldn't take me because I wasn't a CNA. So they gave my application to Whispering Pines. The home manager interviewed me, and then he called me a couple days later and said that he was not going to go with me because I did not have a high school diploma. I don't know, I just talked, I guess, a good game there, I guess, because he did hire me that day. I was a temporary fill-in person, which meant that I was only going to be called if somebody else called in sick. So I went for my first day of training. There was 3 people that were hired, and the one person did not work out. So the next day he told me that I was part-time. And I was part-time for 3 months, and then I went to a full-time position. The agreement that I made with the manager at the time was that I went back to get my high school diploma and or GED. So I did. I went back to the community schools here in town, and I went back and got my GED. From there, I went back to Bay College to get a 2-year human service degree. And so it took me 8.5 years to do that because I had children and everything. My goal was to graduate when my youngest son graduated from high school, and I beat him by a 1.5 years. So I was pretty proud of that. About a year after I became part-time, then there was a position that opened up as a shift supervisor and everything. So I was a shift supervisor for a while. And then about a year after that, I became the home manager for the facility. And I was a home manager for quite many years, about 13 years. And then from there, 3 years ago, I became the trainer for Whispering Pines. First and foremost, I was responsible for making sure that the consumers that I took care of met their daily needs, whether that be showering them, giving them their meds, making doctor's appointments for them. I had to make sure that all those things were being met. I also was in charge of scheduling to make sure all the shifts were covered with the appropriate staffing. We're also responsible for hiring of new staff, training of the new staff at that point in time, taking our consumers out, getting them integrated into the community, and that could be anywhere from going shopping, out to eat, to basketball games, to volleyball games, to the zoo, different things like that. We're responsible for those. We're responsible to make sure that all the data that needs to be turned into our contracting agencies were met and filled out and sent in. And there was a lot of times that one of the responsibilities for the home managers, basically we're on call 24/7. There's other people that are on call for us, but being the manager, that's our sole responsibility too, to make sure. And if somebody did call in, if somebody had to go to the emergency room or whatever, it's the responsibilities of the manager to come in and make sure that the things are being done that need to be done. The paperwork is going with the clients. Somebody is coming in to cover that shift because we needed one person to go to the emergency room with that person or on that appointment. So yeah, there was lots of times that I did a lot of extra work. First, they have to have a valid driver's license because we are responsible for driving our consumers to different places, so they have to have a valid driver's license. We do require that they do have a high school diploma and or GED, and we have hired people before that didn't have those things, but with the understanding that they went back to get it because that's how I got this job. And if it wasn't for my supervisor at that time, I would not be here where I'm at today. We read their application and we look at the different jobs that they've had and everything, and if they've had some type of training like this, we always perked up. We said, oh good. Another indication was when they come in to apply or talk to us for the interview, they are actually walking into the residents' homes. So they are being greeted by our consumers and stuff. So we always kind of looked at that too. How did they greet our residents? Did they shy away, or did they come up and acknowledge them and want to sit down and do a game with them if that's what they were doing? You know, but we look at their personality, bubbly, again, like to be with people. My current role is I'm the trainer for all of Whispering Pines and our in-home health care that we do. I teach all new employees. I do all the trainings that are required for Whispering Pines. I also do annual trainings with them. There's certain things that is required by our licensing agencies and for Whispering Pines. So I do all those. I'm a CPR first aid instructor and I'm a PCM instructor. I went on to get my human service degree just because I thought at that point in time I could move up the ladder a little bit more. So I did, but it wasn't a requirement. If you really like helping people, this is a wonderful job. Every day I left work and I felt so good about myself because I was able to help somebody. I was able to interact with somebody, and I feel that I made a difference in their life. They made a huge difference in my life. That is that's one thing that I do miss, is working with my consumers on a daily basis. I do miss that a lot. I do go to see them as often as I can, you know, and it's nice to see that they do remember me when I walk in the door and they start laughing or holding out their hand. They want to come with me or whatever. So, if you're a caring person, like I said, this job, you make a difference in somebody's life if that's what you want.